So what do you think about these rigged polls? CNN polls having Clinton ahead by 12.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Because even the LA Times poll has it as essentially a toss-up. So, yeah, the polls are ridiculous. I think we have a couple things going on here. Number one is some people just are afraid to admit they're voting for Trump. And that tells you really the sort of lack of discourse that we're having within our communities. And it's worse here in Silicon Valley where I am. It's just ridiculous. If you're for Trump, they persecute you right in the Mercury News. Peter Thiel's going through that now. So, and it's happening in Fortune with Dan Primack's column. And,
Well, it's because they're in Silicon Valley. You've got all these hedge fund billionaire power players that are part of that club.
oh,
That are part of that Clinton, let's keep all our money and screw the little guy club.
yeah. No, I see it here, and of course, I must be the only person that doesn't have a Tesla here. They all drive Teslas.
Well, which makes me wonder, why do people like Zuckerberg and all these guys, here they are supporting Clinton, and if there's a nuclear war with the Russian bear, which Clinton is poking, Silicon Valley is going to get evaporated.
Yeah,
His big compound will be evaporated.
Yeah, it's probably number 2 on the hit list next to Washington.
I mean, of course, they probably all have underground bunkers and stuff that they can go to, but...
It's, just because they were able to write some little code while they were at Harvard and got some people to come to their page, it doesn't mean they understand even the economy in general. I mean, the lunacy of the way they do all these statistics. So they said today that the unemployment rate in Silicon Valley is 3.8%. We have the largest homeless population in the United States of America. So if you've already dropped out of the labor force, sure, they don't count you. If you're working some menial little job, that's why we have this massive disparity in income out here. The average person, the median income in a Silicon Valley startup, which essentially means software as a service, that's all it means. If you want to get a real hardware company funded, it's not going to get funded. If you want to get a consumer products company funded, it's not going to get funded. But if you're in software as a service, SaaS, then the median income is $300,000. Now, and then, because I'm an engineer, the favorite saying of all these clowns is, well, when is it going to be ready? RSN, real soon now. In other words, who knows? So really, this is sort of the entire failure of the Obama, being another attorney who knows nothing about business. So that's why Plan 182, which I presented, is the real solution. But it was in the Wall Street Journal today that startup businesses have been crushed under Obama here, and now they're at the lowest levels ever.
And you see the shilling that him and Michelle Obama are going around for HRC right now. And I mean, Michelle Obama should be calling out her own husband.
Yeah, she's been in on it forever. Okay, they were totally taken in by the Washington plan, and this is the way you do it. They'll lie all you want, it doesn't matter. Like he didn't know anything about the email things, except now, thanks to WikiLeaks, which incidentally isn't being widely reported, he says right in there that he knew about them before he was on CBS and said that he didn't know. So he's just another liar. It's just like saying paying $400 million for those hostages wasn't ransom. Who are you kidding?
Yeah, well, the other ransom now is giving billions of dollars to Saudi Arabia to bomb people in Yemen, and all the people in Yemen blame Obama for it. And the United States is actually fighting in Yemen. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's all a result of this failed Clinton-Obama policy where they just decide we're pulling out this day, and the vacuum creates ISIS and unrest. I mean, let's face it, this area of the world has been unstable for thousands of years.
They're funding ISIS. Hillary Clinton is actually in on funding ISIS because ISIS keeps the instability, and then the military industrial profiteers keep getting big orders for bombs. Over 20,000 bombs has been dropped on Syria by the United States this year alone.
Mm.
Over that many, so it just keeps that dough a rolling, and it allows for more invasion of privacy and more potential for martial law, and just keeps the news cycles going, keeps people interested in the news.
Well, Hillary's not only the most corrupt presidential candidate in history, she's probably also one of the most incompetent. I mean, Trump is absolutely right when he says, yeah, she's got a lot of experience. It's all bad experience.
I mean, people are voting for her because they're taken in by the narrative that's being desperately painted by just about everybody but the alt media.
Well, you pointed out the Michael Trimm piece where he literally laid it out about what's really happening with these polls, and it is the great uninformed, because they're getting their information from the mainstream media, which is totally twisting the narrative.
Well, they're trying to set it up so when they cheat, and as we said before, they're just basically cheating to get the electoral college, where we can cheat here, then it won't seem like they cheated as much. Well, look at the polls. She was always ahead by 12.
Yeah.
Even though none of these polls are accurate polls.
Right. Right, and in fact, that's part of the key narrative, because as that one person who was being interviewed, was in that hearing on the Michael Trimm piece said, because that's the way you say if there's a discrepancy, then it was rigged. So what they do is create the end narrative right away as a false poll, so that you won't see a discrepancy and nobody will check to see if the election was actually rigged. But I still think there's going to be so many people who just go, look, we have to take the country back, that I don't even know whether they can properly rig it.
Well, I mean, they'll rig it, because there's no way they want Trump in. I mean, if this AT&T Time Warner thing goes through, it's basically state-owned media, like doing the bidding of the state. And Trump has come out and said, "I'll nix that deal the second I'm in office. I ain't gonna happen."
Yeah.
So they're going, there's no way Trump can win. All these, New World Order people are going, there's no way. And really, at this point, HRC might even be like Reagan after he was shot, just sort of this thing that's propped up with drugs and pushed forward to barely keep alive and read off a script. I mean, I'm sure, like at the third debate, they showed she has like a little teleprompter in her podium. I mean, it's all just cheat, 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 cheat. And Donna Brazile, who gives her answers, going, "How dare you talk to me about stolen property?" But yeah, but you still did it. You still did it, Donna Brazile. How dare you? I'm a woman of God.
Yeah, she didn't actually deny it. She just said...
Yeah, look over here. Everything is now Russia's fault. Everything is Russia's fault. And we've been right. The skeletons don't stop.
They don't stop.
They don't stop.
They just keep falling out.
And O'Keefe is supposed to be releasing another video today. And
well, and it's so amusing to me because I forget, I was watching Fox, and I think it was the Megyn Kelly show, which I hate her show. She had somebody, and they said, she goes, "Well, we don't know whether this video is real." And the guy says, "What are you talking about?" Of course it's true. What do you think? They got these people to act this thing out and it's not real. But it's any way to discredit what, the real truth is. You can't have truth come out because it makes Clinton look bad. So And it makes the media look bad. It makes the president look bad. So you just have to say.
But I mean, now everybody looks. I mean, everybody is in on it. The FBI, the Department of Justice, all of Congress, all of establishment Congress, Democrat and Republican. Obama's as corrupt as they come at this point.
Yeah.
He's in Warren Harding league of corruption, and it's almost like, what can you do about whole media bought off, all late night comedians, all they can do is talk about Trump.
Yeah.
But it's because their bosses are just Comcast CEO is coming. Look at Colbert.
Yeah.
Here's your narrative, buddy. You want to keep your job?
Yeah. Or you wouldn't want to have an accident.
Right. But, there's still accomplices in treason, every last one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, treason. It's in the WikiLeaks. Hillary Clinton has committed treason and yet is running for president.
Incomprehensible, actually. And but it shows, if you get control over media and you keep letting all these people merge and there's no diversity of thought, and 96% of all journalists who donate to a political candidate donate to Hillary. So, and we've named them before, the Stephanopoulos and so on. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to push their own agenda. So, and that's no change. We don't want anything to change, even though we know there's one thing that's constant, and that's change. And the only place there hasn't been change is in Washington, because they've just ground everything to a halt.
But the really frightening thing, well, there's a lot of frightening things. I mean, TPP is one. World War III is another. I mean, it's HRC wants to pick a fight with everybody.
Yeah.
Because of the business opportunities for her friends. And, I mean, I don't know if we've talked about this, but, I mean, look at all the money she gets from these Middle Eastern countries. They could blackmail her. Say, do what we say, or we drop this quid pro quo stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure she's got a bunch of leverage on them, but it could happen. And she doesn't have any moral outrage with herself of taking money from people who, are barbarians, if you will.
And none of these internal memos talk about trying to help people or the needs of people or what can we do for these people. It's just bashing Catholics, bashing evangelicals, bashing Mexicans, bashing African Americans, bashing millennials, bash. And then don't worry about it, because Vanderbilt kid will put on his super tight T-shirt and go on location somewhere and talk about how great I am. We don't got to worry about it. We got Cokie Roberts in our corner. Cokie has our back. Demi Lovato has our back.
So does Judy Woodruff.
Woodruff has our back. Ellen has our back.
Yeah.
Bono has our back. John Oliver has our back. Liberal John Oliver has our back. What do we have to worry about? Trump is a monster.
It's amazing. But will the American people wake up in time? That's the question. And I also believe the polls are much closer than they're showing. It was reported today 25% of black Americans, I like to say that rather than African Americans because they're not Africans, black Americans in South Carolina are voting for Trump.
Yeah, well, the black men for Bernie are now endorsing Trump.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second, maybe he's right. Things haven't been going that great for us, and our boy Obama didn't do anything for us. There's open warfare. More people have been shot so far this year in Chicago than Americans shot in Afghanistan.
Right. Well, the left and the right, the pure left and the pure right, not the establishment, are sort of coming together to fight a common foe, are realizing that it's far greater. And regular folk on the right are realizing Paul Ryan's not their friend. The sweet Southern belle is not their friend. She's just drinking mint juleps with Pelosi, you know, and
Pelosi and Barbara Boxer.
Yeah, and Feinstein, the mean girls, the old hag mean girls with their dye jobs and their hatred, you know.
Oh, and that awful Trump said, "I want term limits," which we can't have that. Are you kidding me?
I mean, what other gig would Sweet Southern Belle have? You know, she's a little over the hill to be a barmaid somewhere. You know, a cute barmaid. What else is she gonna do? You know?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it's crazy, and Trump is actually the peace candidate. Even Putin came out in a speech, and Putin said, you know, I want to get along with people. I want to. He goes, let's get this election done, and hopefully we can get along. But you know, if HRC wins, that's going to be pretty tough to do. I mean, how is she going to go and even negotiate with Putin when all she's doing is blaming Russia for all of her skeletons and foibles?
it's there's no apology about, gee, we're sorry our people said this. There's none of that. It's just blame the Russians.
Right. Well, her thing is, Trump, you better apologize for Russians hacking. And there's no proof of it. She goes, well, we have 17, like, you know, the Coast Guard and, you know, Obama type stuff. And, you know, the same people that said there was WMDs in Iran. You know,
well,
Iraq.
Yeah, we know that there are foreign actors that aren't necessarily nation states, okay? And so this is different. In fact, the most sophisticated foreign hackers, you know, and I'm saying this because, you know, being a founder of the Cybersecurity Incubator, we know a little bit about hacking. The most sophisticated ones don't leave any trace. You don't know they're in there. You know, it's like the average Fortune 500 company, which is even like a step or two down from that, the hackers are in there for 211 days before they're even discovered. So, you know, this is all part of the political narrative by Hillary just to deflect and pivot. That's all she does. She never takes responsibility for anything because she can't. I mean, otherwise she would go, okay, I was a total failure as a Secretary of State. Yeah, I voted to go into the wars and everything, and well, I created a criminal enterprise called the Clinton Foundation, which extorts money from foreign
leaders. I like how she said in the debate, we give 90% to charity when they just dropped about $2 billion into Qatar. So if that's the case, what did the Clinton Foundation make like $1 trillion? You know, I mean, come on. Yeah. But you know, people are so.
Well, wait a second. There's another big thing which hasn't been talked about. Is that and this is where the IRS comes in. You know, that's been a tool of Obama's, as we saw with Ms. Lerner and she should have been in jail. I mean, and Obama should have been impeached over that. Targeting citizens who were like Tea Party types by the IRS, that's as bad as it gets in government. But anyway, so the reality is the Clinton Foundation's tax filings are now in question, have been questioned by some of the leading experts for 2006, 2007, 2008, and perhaps 2009. In other words, that they improperly reported how the structure of their foundation was to get by all real reporting. And so Obama just gave him a full pass on that. But she knows if Trump's elected, they might look into that.
Well, that's why they're scared shitless.
Yeah.
Because Trump isn't going to stand for that crap.
No. And he will, you know, the FBI director is supposed to be there for 10 years, but the guy has been so incompetent, he'll appoint a special prosecutor. He won't even use the FBI.
But that's why they'll stop at nothing to win. Even like creating an MPC, magnetic pulse thing, shut down the grid, anything to stop the election and install Clinton. I mean, they're just working overtime on how to rig the Electoral College. Overtime, flip the machines, bust people in.
And of course, that's part of why they have to put out the Russian narrative, because we have to do this because foreign entities are taking over our election process.
Yeah, I mean, they like when Twitter and everything shut down a couple days ago, it just could be them creating a narrative. We need to do this narrative and shut everything down, take control of it, put it into the hands of Homeland Security, and then just cheat,
Yeah,
and then just cheat our way through it. It's
it's
pretty,
worked before.
yeah, it's pretty frightening and it's pretty sad.
Well, let's see if the people can actually overrun the government and the election and say, you know what, we're not going to stand for it if we see this funny stuff going on. We see people being bussed in wearing burqas and
And they're just laughing. They're still just in the background going, we're going to power through this, no problem. Anybody questions anything, Lemon will cut them off. Lemon will just cut them off. Cuomo will come on. Cuomo will do whatever we say. He'll just say, look, it's illegal to look at WikiLeaks. It's illegal to. Don't look at it.
Yeah, O'Keefe, he's a criminal.
Yeah, O'Keefe, criminal. Don't worry, people trust Woodruff. She's got our back. She seems, Mrs. Alan Greenspan. Did you see on the plane? They're like one of like Hillary's goons after the third debate literally types questions on his cell phone and like showed it to Mrs. Alan Greenspan. Like you can literally see it. He shows her the question typed on a cell phone, and then Mrs. Alan Greenspan asks a question. I mean, they are controlling everything.
Yeah.
And then HRC gets a question she doesn't like. She just shut the whole thing down and walked back to her freaking, oxygen tank and fell asleep. Which is what's happening. In her Scooby van, there's like a bed back there and medical equipment. I mean, it's frightening.
Almost as frightening as Bill being loose in the White House with no responsibilities.
Dude, Jeffrey Epstein is going to come in, and there's going to be like a Lolita room in the White House.
Oh dear.
Hillary doesn't care. She just used him to. If she never wasn't married to Bill Clinton, what would she be doing? She'd be some disbarred lawyer, probably living in a
like Michelle Obama.
Yeah, in a filthy apartment with cigarette butts all over a dirty carpet and pizza boxes. Seriously.
Oh boy.
Well,
it's going to be interesting. We'll have to really because these things keep dribbling out. We'll have to like step up our political pals things a little more frequently because there's always a new thing coming out.
Yeah, well, every day it's like the skeletons never stop. They never stop falling out. And the thing is, nobody reports on it except the alt media.
Yeah.
You think you're ever going to hear a bad word about HRC out of Lemon's mouth? Ever?
No, he's part of the Clinton News Network.
Yeah, I mean, I think they refer to Vanderbilt kid as the chosen son or something like that. They have like a special name for him.
Yeah.
And Comcast Comcast owns CSNBC, right?
Yeah, CNBC, and they also own MSNBC.
Yeah.
So I mean, and you can go right to the network NBC. They're no different. Lester Holt is out there as part of the Clinton machine every night.
Don't worry, Dennis the Menace's dad. We'll say whatever we want. So they're just laughing. They're just a few more days. We just keep gaslighting, and then it's hello World War III. Let's do it. Let's do this. Don't worry, Zuckerberg. Your compound. Go to your other compound. We'll let you know when the bear is being poked. Just start building those underground. They probably at Vanderbilt kids' Brazilian estate. There's this beautiful bunker, just loaded with hot, nothing but hot, for everybody to go and just have a great time and just laugh. Just laugh. We'll just incarcerate more people. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
We have our own house rules and so forth there in the Vanderbilt bunker.
Yeah, house rules, Menudo rule going on. And, New World Order, all you corporations, you can have slaves in Malaysia making your products. How great is that going to be? Slaves. You'll have slaves working for you. And guess what? You don't really have to pay slaves anything. How great is that going to be?
Hey, it doesn't get any better than that for HRC.
Doesn't get any better than
You can
that.
say, look at all the money you're saving on salaries. Pay it to me. Just pay me 80% of it.
We
just save 20%.
Yeah, we just paid off Sean King. Everybody's got their price. Everybody. Michael Moore is on our team. Bernie's on our team.
Yeah.
Sarah Silver, the beautiful Sarah Silverman, on our team.
Yeah.
We got a great team.
Can't beat it. Oh, by the way, if you get out of line here, could end up in the morgue.
Right? Just don't get out of line. If you want to keep your job, don't get out of line. And they're just laughing. We control everything. Everybody wants to keep their $1 million job and their life. Everybody wants to keep it. So, what do we got to worry about? Just find another old tape on Trump. Hire some other woman to say he groped her and just keep it in the news cycle. And it'll keep disgusting people. And don't worry, Lemon ain't going to report on all the skeletons. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen.
WikiLeaks, he never heard of it.
Yeah. Don't worry, we got plans to take that guy out. We're already getting rid of his server. We're spreading the Russian narrative like people trust Stephanopoulos. They trust his word when he comes out and says this.
Of course, he has no connection to either political party.
No. I mean, he's a documented contributor to the Clinton Foundation, but which gives 5% of its stuff to watered down AIDS drugs that they give to Africa. They've only destroyed a few countries, It's not like they've destroyed dozens of countries.
Well, they're about to, if they get in the White House, they're about to expand that exponentially.
Just think how crazy the corruption and state-owned media, and it's just going to be insane, And then they'll just get on the phone with all right, bombs are going to drop. Get in your bunkers. Bombs are coming.
Yep. The Bay Area will be vaporized.
But the thing is it might. That's the point with what's going on with this. They just had a $40 million nuclear drill in Russia. 40 million people participated in it. They're getting ready. But here's the thing. Trump wins and the whole narrative changes.
Yeah.
Trump wins, there's suddenly term limits on Feinstein, on Mean Girls, Feinstein, Boxer, and Pelosi.
Yep.
What is Sweet Southern Belle's going to have to live off her pension at this point.
Yeah. They're free everything. They're free health care. Yeah, that will be, see, if people take a step back and they think about it, they're going to go, will things change if Trump gets in, or will they change if HRC? Now, the way they were spinning the narrative, Megyn Kelly is that people believe that Hillary Clinton will change more than Donald Trump. What? Where did they get that idea? Well, because media gave it to them. The media they were listening to gave it to them. But this is insane, of course, but we'll see. I think enough people are starting to talk to other people. Millennials, I mean, they ought to wake up. Is that if you're on Hillary's bandwagon, nothing's really going to get better.
Most millennials aren't. And most millennials don't get their news from Vanderbilt and, Dennis the Menace's dad and Mrs. Alan Greenspan and Lester Holt or Chuck Wad. Chuck Wad, who throws cocktail parties for the Clinton campaign at his house.
Yeah,
impartial journalist Chuck Wad.
He's a archetypical 21st century fourth estate person. In other words, I have a political agenda and I'm going to broadcast it nightly.
Yeah, millennials aren't taking that shit. No. They're not getting their news from that shit. So, then they live in their parents' basement.
Well, as Hillary said, she doesn't really know. She's out of touch with them.
Yeah, well, it even came out in the last WikiLeaks that Clinton's strategy with the millennials is make them think they're creating their own movement, and don't make them feel bad that that their Bernie guy has been defeated by me, which he wasn't even defeated. He was basically cooed and stolen from, and
It was rigged.
now they
And he won. She won every coin flip.
Oh, that is even came out as being rigged in the WikiLeaks. The whole thing was rigged, and poor Bernie is losing his support in Vermont because nobody respects him anymore.
How can you respect him? He already showed you that he's a spineless idiot. So, all right, well, let's see what the next skeleton is that rolls out.
Right.